yard average. And Maryland is in third place. They stand at 108.6. The conference co-leaders rank 1-2 in scoring offense. The Tigers leading 31.3. The Terrapins are scoring at a rate of 27.3. In scoring defense, Clemson again is leading 7.7 to 9.7. Both figures are among the nation's leaders. As a matter of fact, the Tigers now rank second in the nation. Now, when the teams fight for a conference title, it's often a close battle. And close battles are often decided by the kicking game, where Clemson appears to have a slight edge. The Tigers are first in net punting, averaging 39.6 yards, and have the top figure against punt returns, having allowed but 64 yards in returns all season. Maryland's net figure is 34, and in punt returns, Clemson again is first in the league, averaging 13.8 yards in a punt return to Maryland's 5. Both teams have high-scoring offenses. They've shown the ability to put lots of points on the scoreboard. At the same time, both have a reputation for solid defenses, ranking well up in the national categories. Scoring offenses against equally strong defenses on both sides, the irresistible force against the immovable object. Those are some of the things that you're going to be hearing Jim Phillips talk about here this afternoon. You're going to hear Jim Phillips talking about a guy by the name of Steve Adkins. He has the longest scoring play this year in the ACC, and that's a 98-yard kickoff return against NC State when Maryland won it 31-7. The longest scoring run this year from scrimmage is 75 yards by Steve Fuller against Virginia Tech at 38.7. So these teams have a lot of things to brag about, a lot of things to be proud of here this afternoon, and a lot riding. I'm going to talk just a minute. 7 seniors this year have surpassed 5,000 yards in career total offense. Washington State's Jack Thompson with 7,211. Michigan's Rick Leach, 5,519. William & Mary's Tom Rosance with 5,350, or Rosance. Clemson Steve Fuller, 5,335. One of the things to talk about is Steve is leading the nation in avoiding interceptions. He has thrown the ball 489 times this year. He's completed 256 and only had 17 interceptions in a career. I'm sorry, in a career. Yeah, nobody's thrown that many times in a season. Where Jack Thompson up at Washington State has attempted 1,019, but he's thrown 40 interceptions. Well, got the Maryland band out there. At least 6,000 orange-clad Tiger fans here this afternoon. Almost that many back at home at Littlejohn Coliseum on the closed circuit. We want to say good afternoon to them, too.
Matter of fact, let me update you as that goes. Reports from Clemson, Ken. At 11 o'clock this morning, when they opened the doors, there were better than 6,000 standing in line waiting to get in. Littlejohn Coliseum is a total sellout, and we certainly welcome those fans along and hope that they'll enjoy it. Just a perfect day for the football activity here, and it's a shame they all couldn't be here, but I know they're enjoying it back at Littlejohn.
Okay, we'd like to add that several plane loads of fans came up here. We were with one crowd here, 7 as a matter of fact, here this morning as we came with them. The team got here, of course, yesterday in the rain and kind of anticipating playing maybe in some overcast and bad weather. The field looks very good from here. What the turf actually is, we don't know.
They did have a tarp on this turf. They've had it on since Wednesday when the rains came in, and in talking with some of the folks who've been down on the field, Ken, it's in excellent condition according to them, so it should be a good fast track out there today.
No weather should it be involved at all in this football game this afternoon. Just a slight west-east wind, and that's about all. See an orange balloon going over a moment ago. They released some balloons here in Maryland, and about that time, I don't know how many people in the orange were here. They all had balloons and released them, so the Clemson people are to be seen and heard and felt wherever they go, supporting the Tigers. Well, we're going to be right back here in just a few minutes, getting this ball game underway when we have more from Byrd Stadium in College Park in just a moment. Back at Byrd Stadium, where the Tigers and the Terps are ready to get this ball game underway. They've had their warm-up to tell you who's going to be starting for both ball teams. Once more, the voice of the Clemson Tigers, Jim Phillips.
Thank you, Ken Allison, and hi again, everybody. Beautiful day for football, and we're ready for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship game here at Byrd Stadium. And let's take a look at Jerry Claiborne's starting offensive unit now. At tight end, Eric Sievers, 6'4", 203 pounds. He's a junior, 223 pounds, I beg your pardon. The left tackle is Jim Ulam, 6'4", 230-pound senior. At left guard, it will be Paul Glamp, 6'2", a junior, 235 pounds. The center is Mike Simon, 6'3", 242-pound senior. At right guard, Kervin Wyatt, a 6'1", 242-pound junior. Bill Livingston is at right tackle. He's 6'7", 270 pounds, a junior. Incidentally, his backup, Larry Stewart, weighs in at 280. At split end, Dean Richards, a 5'10", 185-pound senior. The quarterback, Tim O'Hare, 6'2", 195-pound senior. Fullback, Mickey Dudish, 5'11", 210 senior. At tailback, the much-proclaimed and acclaimed Steve Atkins, 6'1", 220-pound senior, backed up by an outstanding athlete, Preacher Maddox, 5'10", 185-pound senior. The wingback, Jan Carinci, a 6'2", 205-pound sophomore. That's the offensive alignment for the Maryland Terps here this afternoon. The Tigers, of course, will have Anthony King and Cliff Gray working from tight end. The tackles will be Billy Hudson and Steve Kenny. At the guards, Chris Dolce and Joe Bostic, with Jeff Bostic at center. Steve Fuller at quarterback. Marvin Sims and Tracy Perry sharing fullback. Lester Brown, of course, starting at tailback, and we'll likely see Harold Goggins and Warren Ratchford as the afternoon progresses. Dwight Clark and Perry Tuttle, along with J.D. Haglund, of course, will be alternating at the flanker spot. Down on the field, the Maryland Band, about set to get into our national anthem. And let's take 75 seconds for station identification and a word from our sponsors. This is the Clemson Football Network.
Back once more at Byrd Stadium here in Maryland, where Jim Phillips has just given you the starting lineup for this afternoon. We'll run down some of the stats where the Tigers, right now, those big Tiger fans, going to make some noise. As the Tigers come out on the field, the Maryland fans are greeting them with some boos and ahs and go back home and those kind of things. Lester Brown now is 8th in scoring in the nation. He's scored 13 touchdowns, 78 points. Obed Ariri has slipped up into the top scoring. He's 15th in the nation now, the Clemson PAT and field goal kicker. 8th in the nation in receiving is Jerry Butler. In 9 games, he's caught 47 passes for 695 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He hasn't caught that many touchdown passes, but he's averaging 5.2 points per game, catching 5.2 a game. Now the Terps coming out, a lot of noise from their people. What an afternoon. Big excitement at Byrd. Steve Fuller now, and total offense is 20th in the nation. In punt returns, Willie Jordan ranks 5th in the nation. You can see the Tigers having a good year. Total offense, the whole Clemson team is 4th in the nation. In rushing offense, They're 7th. In scoring defense, the Tigers now 2nd in the nation. A lot of balloons here. In total defense, Clemson's now 8th in the nation. In 9 games, they've given up 2,101 yards, averaging 3.6. Another thing about Fuller's interception rate, might want to tell you that too. It's 3.5, and the record is 3.2 held by Tulsa's Jerry Rome, if you remember, back in 61, 2, 3, and 4, back out at Tulsa. We're waiting for the captains to come out, and we have the Tiger Zach Hurd again, or Zach Mills again, all dressed up in his... he's an official again this afternoon. And here he comes with them. Both squads will go out.
Well, Ken, as they approach midfield here, for the Maryland Terps, of course, they won this title 3 consecutive years, 74, 75, and 76. Last year, North Carolina taking the title. Maryland, of course, going through their conference campaign up to this point, undefeated in the conference, looking for that championship again. And the Tigers, nobody on this squad, very few of them probably remember the last time Clemson grabbed the championship. That was 11 years ago, so a lot of those kids were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old at the time. So though it may be a memory, it's not a very fulfilling or fond memory because it's an altogether new experience. And a year ago when they played at North Carolina, they were going for what would have been a share of the conference championship with a victory over North Carolina. But this time, it's the entire lunch. It's dinner, buffet style, full course, whatever you want to call it. The team that comes out of this, the victor, walks off with the championship trophy here this afternoon.
Yeah, there had to be some frustration for the Tigers last year. Most of these ball players do remember that, just a few freshmen here. And almost everybody talks about it. They think about it. They've been hungry for it. And as you said, it's all the lunch here this afternoon. The Tigers want it badly. The Terps want it. They want to retain it, keep it.
Well, the Tigers did win the toss and have elected to receive. Maryland will be defending the west goal. Ed Lonecar will place it on the tee at the 40-yard line. He'll be kicking off for the Terps as Clemson sends Willie Jordan and Warren Ratchford back. Jordan to the near side, and Ratchford will go to the far side. Perfect day for football. There were a few frustrating moments for the Tigers. They came in very, very bad weather yesterday. This morning, the traffic jam that led from the motel to the field got them here about 15 or 20 minutes later than they had expected to arrive. There were some flooded areas on Highway 1 coming in here, which held up traffic even more so.
Right now, it's 67 degrees, by the way, Jim.
It's just beautiful, Ken. Had you been here last night, you would never have believed what the weather was less than 24 hours ago. So Lonecar has it placed on the tee at the west end of the field. This football game is just about to get underway. It's for all the marbles in the ACC. The high end-over-end kick will back Willie Jordan 5 yards into the end zone. It'll be touched down there by Ratchford. It'll come out to the 20-yard line, and that's where the Tigers will put it in play, 1st and 10. So Lonecar, a little gent with a big leg, has kicked it into the end zone, and the Tigers now take over offensively. Steve Fuller and company head for the field. Lester Brown will be the tailback as they huddle back around the 13-yard line. Break out now. Marvin Sims is a fullback. Jerry Butler comes wide to the left side. Abreu lines up a tight end to the left. King to the right side. Fuller takes out. First play of the afternoon. Sweep to the right. Lester Brown. He's hemmed in and fumbles the football. A scramble for it. I believe the Tigers get it back around the 16-yard line. Steve Fuller, the quarterback, had to dive on the football, but Maryland in quick pursuit, stringing out the play. Olkowitz and Matera, the linebackers, forcing Brown to lose possession of the football, but the Tigers get it back.
Also, the Tigers had something working there. They had a lot of guys did not huddle. Had that play worked, evidently they were going to get right up and quick run another play, but they had to go back to the huddle. Some changes were made.
Loss of 3 to the 17. Clark comes wide to the left side as they line up in the I again. Fuller up under center now. 2nd down, 13 yards to go. This time, Marvin Sims, right tackle, out to the 21-yard line. Hit there by Ed Dahl, defensive left tackle for the Maryland Terps. So Marvin Sims gets 4 yards. Ball is placed at the 21-yard line. It'll be 3rd down, 9 yards to go. A brisk breeze blowing out of the west. Tigers playing into it at this moment. Butler again, flanking wide to the left side. Once more, they'll be in the eye with Sims and Lester Brown in behind Fuller. Steve takes out, rolling to his left, looking to throw, firing upfield for Butler. Can't get to it. Out at the 32-yard line, overshot. Back covering was Steve Trimble for the Maryland Terps. And so Clemson unable to get a first down in their first possession. David Sims on now to do the punting. Dropping back is Lloyd Burris for the Maryland Terps as a single safety. David Sims standing back at the 6-yard line awaiting the snap. Has it. Gets the kick away, hits a line drive that Burris is going to camp under at the 43, comes up over the 45, and down he goes at the 49-yard line. A punt of 36 yards. Burris' return is to the 49-yard line of Maryland, and that's where the Terps take over 1st and 10.
Tigers at that particular series looked a little tight, Jim. Looked like just a little bit too anxious to try to make something go in a hurry.
Tell you one thing, it's a little tight all around this place today. A lot of pressure. Wide to the right side comes Carinci now as they line up in the eye. It'll be Kozol at fullback with Atkins the tailback, and Atkins, or keeping on the play, is O'Hare rolling to his right, looking to throw, going to be hemmed in, and down he goes. Tony Williams is there for the Tigers along with Jonathan Brooks, and down goes O'Hare back at the 42-yard line. So Maryland loses 7 on their first offensive play of the afternoon.
Credit the secondary with a sack. He had plenty of time to throw the ball. There was nowhere to throw it. He had to eat it.
Maryland now faced with 2nd down and 17 at their own 42-yard line. Wide to the right comes Dean Richards as they send Carinci flank to the left side. Now in motion goes Atkins to the left. O'Hare with that quick pass to Atkins at the 40, up over the 45 to the 47-yard line, and down he goes. Across the way, up defensively, Bubba Brown along with John Brooks. So that time, Atkins in motion from his tailback position, turned upfield at snap, and O'Hare hitting him. He carries to the 47, where it now becomes 3rd down and 12 yards to go for the Terps.
They want to come out throwing. They're going to dare the Tigers to pick some off. They've picked off a ton so far this year.
Maryland set to go once again as O'Hare brings them out. I formation, O'Hare pitch back, Atkins swinging to his left, gets up to about the 49, 50, down he goes across the way, and Rich Tootin leads the charge from his middle guard position. So Maryland with a net 1 yard in their first possession here this afternoon. Both teams opening up a little slow offensively, both defenses playing very aggressively. Dale Castro in to do the punting now, will stand back at his 37-yard line as Willie Jordan backs up deep for the Tigers. Remember, a good westerly wind blowing behind Castro. High snap, but he pulls it down and gets the kick away, and he has nailed a beauty. Jordan lets it hit at the 5, and it takes a Maryland bounce it out of bounds at the 5-yard line. A punt of 46 yards by Dale Castro. And this is going to see the Tigers backed up inside the 5 as they ruled that it went out at the 4-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 Tigers, and field position could play a very important part in this football game this afternoon.
I'm sure he didn't plan it that way, but he could not have punted it if he'd practiced it all day any better for the Terrapins.
Butler comes wide to the left side as once again the Tigers come out. Tracy Perry has moved in at fullback now. Fuller takes out, rides it off. Perry over left tackle, cracks out over the 5, moves to the 7-yard line. Down he goes there. Van Horn, Johnson up defensively. Barry Tuttle gets in. Jerry Butler is checked out. First quarter action here at Byrd Stadium. No score in this battle for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. Steve Fuller brings his team out again. This time, Tuttle will swing wide to the left side as a flanker. I formation once more. Here's Fuller pitching out in the corner. Lester Brown up over the 15, out of bounds he goes at the 18-yard line. They got to the corner that time. Lloyd Burris, the cornerback on the left side, finally bouncing Lester Brown out of bounds in the vicinity of the 18-yard line. Or check that, the 13-yard line. I beg your pardon.
Maryland with a wide tackle 6, and those linebackers almost show you an 8 front. It takes some muscle and some speed to move against it.
Marvin Sims has just checked in. Tigers will work from the power I now on 3rd down on the yard at the 13-yard line. Power is represented strong to the left side. Here's the ride off to Lester Brown. First down at the 15-yard line. Lester cracked over left tackle and gets the first down. So the Tigers record the initial first down of the afternoon in this football game as we're in the first quarter with 10:56 remaining and no score. Butler gets in, Tuttle gets in, Abreu checks out.
Certainly no field position for the Tigers thus far. They're going to have to make it for themselves.
Butler comes to the left side, splitting off right end is Perry Tuttle, the freshman. Fuller setting them down in the eye with Tracy Perry and Lester Brown set in behind. Fuller dropping to throw. Pressure coming from the backside, but he eludes that, moves back to the line of scrimmage, and gets a couple as he moves to the 17-yard line. Ed Dahl defensively for the Maryland Terps. Steve was looking to throw that time for Butler. However, he was well covered, and Steve picking up a couple along the ground at 2nd down and 8. Abreu gets back in now. Tigers will work from a double tight end offense once more, sending Jerry Butler as a flanker wide to the right side. Perry and Brown once more settle into the eye behind Steve Fuller at quarterback, looking over that 6-man front for Maryland. Brown gets the call, left tackle to the 19. That's it. He's hit down there. And across defensively for the Terps this time, Charles Johnson, the defensive right tackle, and Joe Muffler from right end. They will mark it at the 18-yard line, where it now becomes 3rd down, 7 yards to go.
Okay, big 3rd down conversion play. Tigers so far this year on 3rd down conversions, out of 144 attempts, have converted 76 times. Butler going wide to the right. Tuttle will swing out, split from left end. Again, Perry and Brown will be in the eye behind Steve Fuller, who takes out, drops the throw, has time, looking over the middle, firing. Tuttle drops the football, incomplete pass. Good defensive job by Steve Trimble, the right cornerback of the Maryland Terps. Tuttle had made the grab for just a second at the 30 as he came open on the post, but he could not contain it when Trimble hit him. So again, David Sims will punt the football for the Tigers. Backed up is Lloyd Burris once again for Maryland. Snap back, Sims gets the kickoff. He hits a beauty this time into the wind. A hanging kick that Burris settles under at the 40, and down he goes at the 40-yard line. A punt of 42 yards. Jeff Sewell downfield very quickly, along with Bill Smith that time for that specialty team. And Maryland now takes over 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. He might have been wise to fair caught that one. Nothing but white-shirted Tigers around him. Wide left goes Carinci for Maryland. They'll line up in the eye once again. Kozier will be at fullback, Atkins the tailback. O'Hare takes out. Atkins swinging to his right. Nowhere to go. Tiger defenders all around him as he comes up to the line of scrimmage. Good run support from the secondary, but diving through was Randy Scott from his linebacker position along with Jonathan Brooks. And they bring Atkins down right at the line of scrimmage. No gate. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Okay, earlier we saw Atkins run mostly to the outside. Mickey Dudish has now checked in as fullback. Now they shift to one back in the backfield. Here is O'Hare rolling to his right, looking to throw. Runs now, comes out to the 45, and down he goes there. O'Hare bumped down by Bubba Brown that time at the 45-yard line, so it now will become 3rd down, 5 yards to go for the Terps. And we have an official down. I can't see exactly, but I believe an official is down along the sidelines here. Again, a crowd of some 50,000 has gathered here at Byrd Stadium at Little John Coliseum in Clemson. Of course, a capacity crowd there as they were lined up some 6,000 strong when the gates opened at 11 this morning. It is an official. It is definitely one of the officials that they are attending to at the moment along the sidelines. You know, Jim, a lot of times people get a big kick out of seeing the official get hit during the course of a ball game and run over by some of these big ball players, but he is wearing no protective padding out there, nothing to protect him. He's part of the ball game. We do not know yet, can't pick up a number to see which one he is, but there's nothing funny about these gentlemen. They're a little older than these football players out there too. Well, I believe he's being aided up now. Some of the Maryland players along the sideline applauding a bit now. Who is that official? Now you got. He's right at 24. That's the one up here. That's Ron D'Souza, the line judge, who was injured on the play, but appears to be all right now as he's aided up and around.
Many times you talk about players having their bell rung. He may well have had his rung. He's sitting up on the bench now, however, and I'm sure that an alternate has stepped in his place. So let's place the football now to the 44-yard line. It'll be third down, 6 yards to go for Maryland. We're in the first quarter with 8:24 remaining. Neither team has been able to move offensively with the football. The Tigers have found themselves backed up in the shadow of their own goalpost on their 2 possessions here this afternoon. The opening kickoff by Maryland went into the end zone. Tigers started at the 20. And then a Castro punt went out of bounds at the 4-yard line, from where the Tigers did manage 1 first down before punting back to the Maryland Terps here this afternoon.
It boils down to this: in a ball game like this, the team that makes the fewest number of mistakes, when 2 teams are this well matched and evenly matched, well coached, fine personnel, it's whoever can get by without the turnover, the mental mistake, the penalty at the wrong time.
Dean Richards now will line up as a wing to the left side as O'Hare brings them out of the eye. Third down 6, Maryland. From tailback, that is Alvin Maddox. Preacher Maddox in motion to the left side. O'Hare rolling to his left. Now turns upfield, being chased out of the pocket. Up over the 45, gets out to the 48-yard line, and down he goes there. O'Hare found his receivers well covered. And again, as you pointed out earlier, Ken, at secondary, forcing O'Hare to tuck it in and run, and they come up dry once more. So on comes Castro to do the punting again.
I don't guess he's real anxious to throw into that secondary unless he is real sure. They've picked off 22 this year.
Ron D'Souza, the injured official, got up and went back to the field, but some of his official mates out there have urged him to go back and sit down for a little while here anyhow. So he's kneeling along the sidelines, and we're ready to go as Castro again backs up now, set the punt, and Willie Jordan backs up deep for the Tigers. Snap back, Castro gets the punt away, and he hits another beauty. Jordan, fair catch, calls for it. Boy, he had to dive for it as that wind hung it up there, but Willie did contain it at the 13-yard line, a 38-yard punt. And again, the Tigers will have the football, as what we have right at the moment is a defensive battle between these 2 clubs. Neither team finding themselves able to open anything up on offense as of yet.
Jim, both punts that Maryland has gotten off, the snaps were up around head high to that punter.
They definitely were. Marvin Sims has checked back in at fullback. Jerry Butler comes wide to the left side. It'll be Lester Brown at tailback behind Fuller from the eye. Off it goes. Marvin Sims tries right guard. Nowhere to go. He's stacked up by the middle of that defensive wall. Van Horn was there. And Marvin Sims went down, perhaps got a half yard at most. They've spotted it back to the 13, so credit him with no gain on the play. Second down and 10. Perry Tuttle checking in. Abreu goes out. They'll work with Butler and Tuttle as wide receivers. Not a cloud in the sky. 67 degrees at kickoff. Perfect day for football. Hard to believe it's the 18th of November. Butler wide to the left side. I formation set in behind Steve Fuller at quarterback. Fuller takes out, rolling to his left, looking to throw. Now he's going to have to eat it. Down he goes, and credit to Steve. He got about 3 yards after he was wrapped up by Joe Muffler to defensive end. And Steve, lurching forward, gets it back out to the 11-yard line. Well, that'll go down as a loss of 2 and bring about 3rd and 12.
That's some real strength on that big guy's part. He leaned forward.
Steve doing a good job of getting back up over the 10-yard line. So the Tigers now faced with a 3rd and long as Butler goes wide to the right. Dwight Clark drops into a slot on the right side. Fuller sets them down in the eye. Takes out. Back to throw, fires upfield. This is complete to Clark. Out across the 15 to about the 17-yard line, and down goes Dwight Clark. That'll be far short of a first down, and the Tigers once more will have to punt the football. Burris was there defensively for the Maryland Terps.
Be a good place for Maryland to try to put the rush on. Let's just see if they will, not second-guessing them, just saying that could be the possibility at this point.
Steve Trimble is now backed up in deep safety, standing at midfield, while David Sims is back inside the 5-yard line awaiting the snap. Gets it and gets the kick off. Oh, he's hit a beauty into the wind. Trimble backed up now, gathers it in at the 42, sweeps to his right, is going to be hauled down at the 39-yard line. Again, that specialty team downfield after the 41-yard punt. J.D. Hagley.